This is the All Ears English podcast. Do these two English words make you anxious? Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
What's the difference between nervous and anxious in English? Human emotions are complex. We break it down today for more clarity. Listen in. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Doing great, Michelle. How are you? What's going on?
I'm doing well. Lindsay, are you nervous about anything right now?
Well, let me see. I am... No, actually, I'm feeling pretty generally relaxed. We are doing a home renovation that I'm a little nervous about, I will say. You never know with these things. Are they going to get completed on time, on budget, all those things? So I guess I am. What about you? Anything you're nervous about?
I'm a little nervous because I am flying to Florida with my kids and no Dan on Saturday. And I'm just a little, last year, when I did it, it was quite something special. And so I don't know how it's gonna go. And it's, but it'll be okay. I'm an adult and I can do it. I'm a big girl.
You can do it. You maybe you just think of it as probably not going to be worse than last year, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
knock on wood. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to anticipate all the possible problems. I have tons of toys and activities that are good for the plane. I've put a lot of thought into this. So
that's good. Okay.
It goes well.
Oh, so, good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. Guys, but today we are going to answer a great listener question that actually came to us from our Android app that came along with, I believe, a 5-star review.
Yes, it did, Michelle. So this was a 5-star review for our Android app, like you said, from Jungmin from Korea. So I'll go ahead and read the question and the review. All right. So Jungmin says, I've been listening to All Ears English since 2018. Michelle, that is amazing.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
You.
I couldn't understand your podcast at first, but I've improved my English skills quite a lot, and I can get most of the podcast. Big thanks. And they left a little heart there too. Thank you. I have a question. I'm confused between anxious and nervous. I feel they're similar, but I can't get it. Could you explain it? I always appreciate your podcast. Take care. Nice.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. And what a great question as well. Yes. This is a really interesting one because the thing is with this question is there's not necessarily a huge difference between these words. What do you think, Lindsay?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a huge difference. But this is what we love to do in All Ears English. We love to pick out the nuances, right? Show our listeners what there might be a slight difference and we'll find it if there is, right?
Yes, exactly. So we're going to be talking through, what the differences may be. I mean, overall, I think if you asked most people, they would say, oh, they're synonyms, right?
Yeah.
And they are.
I agree. Yeah.
So we don't need to stress about it too much. Basically, we don't be nervous about the words nervous and anxious.
Yeah, that's the key. Don't get nervous about these words, right?
Yeah, that would be counterproductive. So, guys, we're going to get into whatever subtle differences there are in just a second, but we want to remind you to hit the follow button wherever you're listening to the All Ears English podcast.
Yes, hit follow because you don't want to miss. I mean, this will build a habit, just like Jungmin was able to improve their listening, going from not understanding much of the podcast to actually understanding most of it. Yeah. That required probably 5 days a week or 4 days a week of listening to the show for a few years. And that's what we want to see for you guys, to really get into the show, make it part of your daily life. In order to do that, you want to hit follow so it shows up in your queue, right?
That's right. Yes,
good.
Exactly. Okay. So that's great. Okay, so nervous. Let's start with nervous.
Okay.
So nervous is usually about some specific situation. Something's about to happen. And then it's this specific feeling. And probably once whatever it is over, you might not feel nervous anymore. So I'm nervous about the flight. Once the flight is over, I won't be nervous about it anymore. Although I have the same situation on the flight back. So then I can go from being nervous about the first flight to being nervous about the second
flight. Geez, Michelle. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So, but I like this. What we're saying here is nervous is more about a specific situation that probably will pass. Eventually you'll get through these 2 flights and you may have stories for us. We'll see. Right.
I'll let
come back
you know.
To the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm nervous. I have a test tomorrow. So you're nervous, you have that test.
Right. And then the best feeling in the world is finishing a test. Right. I remember that in school. Like you're done. You can offload all this information. And here's another one. She's nervous about her meeting next week with her boss. Yes, for sure.
Or I always get nervous right before tax season starts. So maybe I'm a tax accountant and I know it's coming to hit me. So you can generally explain what exactly you're nervous about, right? And you're probably going to be done with that feeling, like Lindsay said about the test, when it's over.
Yeah, for sure.
But Lindsay, do you get nervous about any specific situations or?
Sure. Yeah, I get nervous for sure. I mean, public speaking, I get nervous sometimes, right? Sometimes if I'm going to meet someone important, like a family member, like when I met my in-laws for the first time, I was nervous to meet them.
Example.
Yeah. I mean, tests I get really nervous about.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Michelle? Anything?
I get nervous when I have to put a lot of different things on the calendar.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm, I mean, for work, it's one thing, right? That you kind of expect. But when you're kind of, even social events or things like that, I'm very much like let's talk tomorrow and see what we want to do. I don't like planning too far in advance unless it's something really exciting, but I don't like to be like, let's reserve these days. It just
okay, got it.
I don't know. I mean, I'll do it, but I will say that sometimes then I get confused. Like the other day, I was excited to take my daughter to a story time at like an animal shelter actually, and nice. She was going to get to play with the dogs.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I came and I was and I got there. She was all excited, and then they said, "Oh, it's tomorrow."
Oh no, Michelle, that's the worst.
Yeah, so that was.
So is it the overwhelm that you're afraid of being overwhelmed by putting dates on the calendar, or you're afraid that you'll put the wrong dates and the wrong times on the calendar?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. Also that because sometimes I'm not sure, like. On the weekends, a lot of times maybe we might do something with my husband's family. And but they might not ask until later on. So I always feel like kind of have to reserve a little bit of time. I don't know.
Well, that's fair. We all have our own things we get nervous about, right, Michelle?
That's right.
Yep. All right. So then let's switch gears here, Michelle, and talk about anxiety. I mean, how is this different? It is a little different. Right.
So, I mean, again, anxious can really be the same as nervous. You can be anxious about something specific. So like I get anxious every time I have to make a speech.
Anxious to take a test, right? Anxious to meet the in-laws. Yes.
Yeah. However, I would say that anxious can sound a little bit stronger. It's a slightly more intense word.
Yes.
But here's the difference. Anxious can also be more general or last for a longer period of time or be more geared to something in the future. Right? Yeah. So it's just, it's like a slow burn, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people feel anxious and they don't know what they're actually anxious about. So versus nervous, like usually it's more like I guess you can be a nervous person. I guess that could, but I agree with our definition here. Nervous is usually about an event happening, whereas you can be anxious and you're not really sure why. Maybe you wake up and your heart is racing. I mean, a lot of people have anxiety and they do get prescribed medication for it or see a doctor for it. It's a legitimate thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I've been feeling anxious about our relationship for a while. So, maybe I'm in a relationship with someone and I'm not sure if it's going well or something doesn't seem right. So like, I just have this underlying anxiety about it.
Yeah. Or this one, I'm anxious because I don't know if I'll be able to find a new house in this housing market. Yeah.
And you could say nervous.
Yeah.
You could. Again, that's fine. I mean, again, generally they can overlap, but like Lindsay, you've already touched on that word anxiety. I think of anxious. It's hard not to think of anxious and not think anxiety because that's like that anxiety could be a disorder. Somebody may have an anxiety disorder, a generalized anxiety, like you said, Lindsay, or underlying anxiety. Maybe they see a therapist. Maybe they have to take medication or find special other ways to handle it. Maybe they do meditation, something like that. So it could be more of like a clinical term as well.
Whereas we don't really have like nervousness as far as I know. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't really know, but I don't think that's a clinical term that you'd be prescribed, just totally messed up those two words, prescribed medication for. Another interesting piece here is I recently noticed a use of anxious that is nothing we've even talked about so far. Really? That is more rare. So I received an email, just like it was a legal email, right? It's just something that I'm dealing with. And the person said, we're not anxious to do X when we don't know what will happen. They were supposed to do something like send money or sign something, right? So we're not anxious to do X when we can't we can't trust you or something. I'm trying to be vague, but also give an example. Meaning they weren't like in a rush to do something. They weren't in a rush.
Oh, yes.
They weren't in a rush to do it because they're not sure if this is going to turn out okay.
Right.
So I thought about that use and I'm like, I haven't heard that use of anxious in a long time, but it is a way we use the word anxious. So for what it's worth, there are a few niche ways that we use it.
Yeah. Good point. So, I mean, what about, we already talked about being nervous and anxious a little bit about for ourselves, but you know, you also might hear someone say, I have anxiety about X, like, or I have anxiety when it comes to, so this is somebody maybe talking about overall feelings of anxiousness they may have. So for example, I have anxiety about all the changes at work.
Sure. Yeah. I have anxiety. You might say that. Or I have anxiety when it comes to buying holiday gifts. Yeah. I mean, that's a common thing. I think there is a thing where people do develop anxiety around the holidays because, you know, there's anxiety around spending time with family, or if there isn't much family, there's anxiety around that too. Understandably so. Right. Or choosing the right gift or maybe hosting parties. So I think we would tend to go to the word anxiety rather than nervous there. Right. This holiday, we don't say holiday nervousness. We say holiday anxiety.
Yeah. Right? Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly. So we're going to teach two other words dealing with this feeling of nervousness. And then we're going to do a role play. So one is jittery.
This one's
jittery.
This
is different. What is jittery?
Well, for me, it's when I combine too much caffeine with feelings of nervousness or anxiety. So for example, I get jittery when I sit down for too long. Right. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be with the caffeine. It's just sometimes people do say that like caffeine makes me jittery.
Yes, exactly. You might see an example of that later. And then the last one is flustered, right? So flustered is basically kind of nervous, confused. Maybe there's a lot going on. Like I was flustered when I got to the story time and I was on the wrong day. But you know what I don't like? I hate it when people like try to read your cues. And we are human beings. We're animal beings. We are designed to read cues, right? But I feel like sometimes people try to read cues and they think you're flustered or nervous. Maybe you're just fine. Maybe you're fine or just like a little bit that way, but you've got it under control. And they say, oh, don't get so nervous. Like, how do you know I'm so nervous? I hate that.
I hate that.
Oh my gosh. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
And yes, that is definitely a pet peeve.
It makes me livid. I'm just like, don't tell me what to feel and don't tell me what I'm feeling and don't tell me what to do now. Everything's under control.
I love it. Yeah. Because then you're just like, I'm fine. It's just, I didn't say anything.
Right. And then you feel like you have to argue about how you're actually feeling. Not good. Not good. So don't like, just be careful when you say, don't be this way, don't be that way, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's good. Good tip.
Good tip. Yeah.
So we gave 2 other words. So like you could also say, don't get flustered. I can explain it to you step by step. So should we do a role play?
Let's do it, Michelle. So here we are running lines for a play, meaning we're practicing lines. Is that what that means?
Yes. We are in a play together and we are going to read some lines.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Okay. Ugh, I keep messing up on this part.
Deep breaths. Don't get flustered. You know this.
Okay, you're right. I'm just a little bit nervous about our run through this afternoon.
I totally understand. Honestly, I feel like I'm always anxious when I'm rehearsing for a play. It's hard.
Yeah, I'm also jittery because I had way too much coffee today.
That'll do it. Oh, that's so funny that you added in the coffee piece. That's so appropriate. I love it.
Well, there's a fine line. Like when sometimes do you ever think, I'll just go for one more cup. And then you get through and you're like, that was a mistake. Now I feel horrible.
No, it's true. It also depends on where you get your coffee. Some coffee shops are a lot stronger than others. So you just...
No, that's true.
Or what you've had to eat earlier that day. It's a whole thing. So jittery, the word jittery clearly is in many levels tied in with coffee and caffeine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So... All right. So I said, I'm trying to calm you down. And I said, deep breaths, don't get flustered. And it's not like it would bother you every time. In my case, I wouldn't get bothered every time someone says that to me. It's more like certain scenarios and certain people when they like label how you're feeling and say, don't feel that way,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, you're right. I'm just a little bit nervous about our run through this afternoon. So again, here, this is kind of this short-lived, I'm nervous about something specific. Yeah. Right. And after the run through, I'll feel better.
Good. Excellent. And then we said anxious. So I said, I totally understand. Honestly, I feel like I'm always anxious when I'm rehearsing for a play. And this could be a scenario where you could interchange nervous. Right. But
the last one too.
And the last one too. I'm also nervous because I had too much caffeine today. You think so? Yeah, probably.
Oh, no. Not that. No. I mean, the one before, like,
the most.
I'm just a little anxious about a run through. That would have been fine too.
Yeah.
But anxious can be that feeling of like for a longer period of time. It's like more generalized. But again, it's not a big difference. And if you say nervous, it's fine.
Yeah, that just brought up a good episode idea. When you said the last one, my head went to the last one of the role play.
Oh,
but you meant the most recent one. So that's interesting. That could be an episode idea, Michelle.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Real nuance of English there. So guys, hit the follow button if you love the topics that we cover on this show. Michelle is taking notes right now to prepare a really good episode for coming up sometime soon. One other episode to go to is 2553, near versus nearby in English. Another winner. Really important that we covered this. So go check it out. All right.
Okay. And then just to emphasize one more time at the end, I said I'm jittery because I had too much coffee today.
Yes.
So takeaways for today. Again, these are almost the same. There are very slight differences. If you use one over the other, I don't think it's ever going to be an issue, really. I really don't. But if you're trying to choose the best word, the best option, we gave you some ways to make that decision.
Yep. You've got some options here. You've got some context. So great question. Guys, be sure to send in your questions for the new year for 2026. Send them in to support@allearsenglish.com, or even better, ask them in a review. Leave a review wherever you listen and we'll see your review and we'll see your question just like we did for this one. All right. Great.
All right, Lindsay. Well, this was fun and I hope you have a very not nervous day.
Same for you, Michelle. You have a calm, relaxing day.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.